everyone, my name is Easy and welcome to another episode of Easy Does It, where we react and review YouTube channels and sometimes do daily vlogs. Now this week we are looking at a channel called TFOOS, which stands for the foot of our stairs. Now apparently they do a lot of stuff on 70s, 80s, and 90s TV shows, such as theme songs, cartoons, quizzes, and other stuff like that. He's got about 3 million views, over 3 million views. He joined in 2017, so he's been around for a little bit. He's got about 15,000 subscribers. He's from the UK. He's got more subscribers than I do, so I've been doing this for a long time. I don't see how some of these people get the subscribers they do, other than the fact that they probably do a lot of social media, which I don't. I only do YouTube and Twitter, or now it's called X. That's the only social media I do. I don't do anything else. Too dangerous. Too much information given out. Alright. We're going to check out the beginning of this series he's done, containing sci-fi shows from those generations. Now, he's got about like 14 of these, so I'm just starting with the first one. I saw this came up in my recommendations. I've never watched the channel before, never even knew it existed till here just recently. So I figured I'd check it out and do a reaction review to it. Alright, let's go.
Well, today we're looking at 10 sci-fi series from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 60s.
Yeah, you can tell it's from the UK. He's
in
UK.
the very early 80s, at the very least. Whatever snappy title that comes under, that's what we're doing. Let's take a look at the first one. Number 1, The Tomorrow People was a British science fiction TV show that aired from 1973 to 1979 on ITV. It was repeated in the 80s. It followed a group of young people with special abilities.
Well, it was also a US show.
Possessed powers like telepathy and teleportation. Led by
in fact, I think it started in the US. The UK and the US switch out shows quite regularly.
And it remains a notable entry in British science fiction.
I never watched the show.
The funny thing today, well, there's a kid in my class called Robert. Oh, yeah? Well, he did a painting. I've been to that planet, and he'd drawn it exactly as it is.
All right, they're real. They
But
exist. They're
I know of the Tomorrow People.
Well, Tim isn't a person, of course. Well, he's a computer, actually.
But like I said, I didn't know the UK did it too. I thought it was just the US.
Number 2, Sapphire and Steel. It's a British television series that aired from 1979 to 1982. It was a supernatural/science fiction show created by Peter J. Hammond, and it starred Joanna Lumley as Sapphire and David McCallum as Steel. The show followed the adventures of these two mysterious operatives known as interdimensional time detectives. They were assigned to fix disruptions in time and prevent malevolent forces from exploiting those same disruptions.
All irregularities will be handled by the
okay.
Yet you say that it's dangerous, it's evil.
It almost sounds like Doctor Who in a way.
You're trying to tell me that this force thrives upon
feeding the Time Lord who,
yes,
goes throughout time correcting time problems.
working his way up. Number 3, The Outer Limits. It was a science fiction TV series from
Yep.
the 60s.
I think
It was
everybody
so
remembers
popular
The
that
Outer
it was just
Limits.
repeated forever, especially during the late 70s and the early 80s. It had an anthology format featuring self-contained stories.
It was pretty much like the Twilight Zone.
You know, moral dilemmas and scientific progress. They blended elements of science fiction and horror and philosophy, and it was distinctive with its opening sequence and that narration at the beginning. It remains a beloved and influential show in the history of science fiction TV.
Never did watch the old. You know, I've seen some of the newer ones, like from the 80s or 90s show, but never did watch the old black and white.
Throw it again harder.
Force field. Magnetic force field.
I named it Ronaldo's barrier.
Yeah, it's pretty fanciful, isn't it?
Number 4, Salvage, or Salvage 1, is an American television series that aired from 1979 to 1980. We got it over here in the UK. The show follows the adventures of Harry Broderick, who was played by Andy Griffith, an eccentric junkyard owner with a passion for space exploration, and Salvage. In the series,
Never heard of it.
set out to build a homemade spaceship called the Vulture to retrieve discarded or abandoned equipment and resources from space with the help of his best friend, former astronaut.
You got me on that one. I've never heard of that one.
Mechanical genius assistant. They embark on daring missions to salvage valuable materials, satellites, and even a lunar lander.
Now we're slowing down to land on the moon, using up still more fuel. Re-entry friction can fry a man, Harry. It's always been one of NASA's biggest problems. Next set up over here. That's our fuel expert. Trust me, Harry. Mel's the only one that can get this thing off the ground. Tell Harry about monohydrazine. What's that?
Why do I keep getting involved with guys that want to kill themselves?
Number 5, Jason of Star Command. It was a live-action science fiction TV series that aired from 1978 to 1981.
Yeah, I've heard of that one too, but I've never watched
I think
it.
80 to possibly 82-ish. Anyway, it was set in a distant future, and it followed the adventures of Jason, a skilled space pilot and member of Star Command, an interstellar organization dedicated to maintaining peace and justice in the galaxy. Jason, armed with his unique weapon called a Starfire,
I think this was like part of the Saturday morning cartoon lineup, but it wasn't a cartoon.
And defend the galaxy from the forces
I'm
of
not
evil.
for sure,
Yes,
but
master.
It's cute, Parsifal, but it looks like a toy. Yeah, an X-ray device? You mean that little gadget can do all that? Come on. A gadget?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was part of the Saturday morning cartoon lineup, like in the late 70s.
Wiki, I think we're in for it.
Number 6, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century from Wiki.
Yeah, everybody knows Buck Rogers.
Series that aired from 1979
They've been
to
trying to get
1981 again in the
another
States.
series going. They
just sort of
there's so many legal ramifications. It's a hot mess, so they haven't been able to get it up and running. I sure hope they do. They've been talking about doing a movie forever too, but they still haven't come out.
Many
Done
years
the
later,
movie.
in the 25th century,
Now the first season was really good,
for a devastating global conflict, and
but the second season was just shit. None of the cast or crew liked the second one. They thought it sucked. There were so many problems with the second season of Buck Rogers, the 70s, 80s, early 80s version. There was a black and white version too before that. And it was a comic book strip for a while.
Number Number 7, Beyond Westworld. It's a science fiction television series that aired in
I've never watched
1980.
any of the
This show
Westworld
serves as a sequel to the
stuff.
film Westworld, which was written and directed by Michael Crichton. In Beyond Westworld, the Delos Corporation, the company responsible for creating the theme park Westworld, attempts to expand its control beyond the confines of the park. The corporation secretly creates android replicas known as doppelgangers and plans to replace influential people in positions of power with these lifelike robots.
It's not possible. Those people
That's
were
probably why I
It
never
wasn't the
watched
people.
it.
What do you mean?
It was the robots.
It's hard to imagine the guests could believe the robots were real.
Those aren't ordinary machines. They're complicated pieces of equipment, almost as complicated as living organisms.
Now I know they did like a sequel to it called Future World, the movie, not the series. They did a sequel called Future World or whatever, and it actually did better than the first one.
Blake 7. We're back to the UK for this one. It's a British science fiction.
Yeah, that's
series.
British.
It's
I'd
about
heard of it, but
termination.
I've never
The guy
watched
who
it.
created the Daleks, as it happens. The show follows a group of rebels in a dystopian future who are fighting against a tyrannical interstellar federation known as the Terran Foundation. The series centres around Blake, played by Gareth Thomas, who is wrongly accused of a crime and leads a group of outlaws aboard a stolen alien spacecraft called the Liberator.
You may have heard of me.
Sounds like
My name is
Lex
Blake.
almost, which is another British show.
Care what happens to you.
Within reason, of course.
We're as surprised about it as you are.
The navigation units will accept your spoken commands. Please state speed and course.
You want the Liberator? Exactly.
Number 9, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
see?
It was a science fiction
Yeah, I've
comedy
heard of this
television
one
series
too.
based on the popular
This is
radio
old,
show and
old
book
shit
series of the same name by
that
none
they've
other than Douglas
redone over the
Adams.
years.
It aired in 1981 in the UK and consisted of 6 episodes, but it was repeated many, many times. It follows the adventures of Arthur Dent, an ordinary Earthling who finds himself
That movie
suddenly
they did a
swept
while
away on
back,
intergalactic
this-
journey
yeah.
after the Earth is
It was
unexpectedly
alright, but it
destroyed to
wasn't
make
really
way for
that good.
hyperspace bypass. Arthur's accompanied by his eccentric and alien friend Ford Prefect.
If you notice,
research
most of the
and
shows from the
guidebook,
70s,
which
80s
provides humorous
that were
and unreliable
UK shows,
about the
they
universe.
all look like they were done on a stage.
Definitely. I'm game. We'll see who rusts first.
Hello, Arthur.
Paul. Hi, how are you?
Fine.
Good. How are you?
Look,
Bloody jolly good show.
I have an exceptionally large mind.
Marvin, yes.
I won't enjoy it.
She's not asking you to enjoy it. Just do it, will you?
I don't think I can stand that robot much longer, Zaphod.
Come on. I've been ordered to take you up to the bridge.
See, it looks like it's done on a stage. They all do.
The size of a planet, and they tell me to
It's
take
not
you
the
up
same
to
as
the bridge.
it just looks different than
Into
the
the
US
Labyrinth, a British fantasy
shows.
sci-fi-ish television series for kids that aired from
I never heard of
1982.
I mean, I know, I remember the movie.
Labyrinth hidden beneath an old country house. The series begins when a young
But
girl
this
named
is
Ellen discovers
a
this
series in
enchanted
the UK.
stone
I've
that
never
gives her
heard
the
of it.
ability to travel through time and space. And along with her friends Terry and Phil, they enter the labyrinth and find themselves in a parallel world filled with strange creatures and mystical beings.
How did you get up there? I've been here all the time. Couldn't find me, could you? I told you I stopped playing ages ago. Oh, come on, Terry. It's your turn to hide. That was closer. I don't mind so much now that I can see where we're going. Only sort of late, isn't it?
Well, you know, they're standing in front of a screen. Can
Children.
definitely tell.
I get children.
You need a block and tackle.
Need a flipping crane.
Heavy equipment.
We'll never get him out.
Concentrate on the stone. Think of nothing else. Think of the stone.
Okay. And that's probably a good reason why I didn't watch it.
Sci-fi shows that were
Or
on
heard
UK
of it.
TV, but are not necessarily from the UK, and they were on in the 80s, but they're not necessarily from the 80s. Did I miss any out? You let me know in the comments below. Share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. Bye
Okay,
for
so
now.
that must be it. It was okay. nothing major. A couple of them shows I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of that Salvage show. And, you know, it definitely was a U.S. You could tell it was U.S. A couple of the British shows I'd never even heard of. Most of the British shows I usually don't watch anyway. UK shows are a little bit strange to me. There are a few I like, but there's a lot of them I never even heard of or care to watch. Just not my cup of tea. But anyways, yeah, it's okay. It's not like a great channel, but it's not. It doesn't look like it's that bad either. It's just, you know. Like I say, he's got like 14 of these, and plus other stuff. But like he does a series of these sci-fi things, but there's like 14 of them. See part 14? Like I say, he's got like 14 of them. I may check out one of the other ones eventually, but anyways, check it out if you want to. It's up to you. So that's all I have for you this week. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care.